Hey guys, it's Maymay, and you might remember these three boxes that I told you I wanted to do something cool with, and that is, I want to turn this one into an elf, this one into a snowman, and this one into Santa, the big guy, right? And then I'm going to have three shelf sitters for my home. Now, I have racked my brain about what I want to do about this raw edge, and in the past, I have covered with paper, I have painted, I have inked, but I don't believe I might have, but I don't remember leaving it as it is. And here's the thing. I really like the way this looks. It's a really pretty wood. It's very well sanded. I think it's very pretty. And I don't really think I need to treat it. Now, if I change my mind after I get my images in here, I can always go back and paint it or cover it or whatever. But I just kind of like the natural look of it. And there's a couple reasons. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. Okay, I want to start with the elf. Actually, we're going to kind of start with all of them, but let's go to the elf first. What I want to do is I want to cut a piece of just random cardstock, the size I need for in here to build my elf, because I want to build on that random piece and then place it in here, okay? So I'm going to measure. So this guy, I'm going to get my little Post-it notes out so I can write down all my measurements I've got coming here. This guy is 4 and almost 1/8, so I'm going to write 4 and 1/8. And I'm going to write the word slim beside it so I know it's a slim 4 and 1/8, all right? And then the width of him is a slim 7 and 1/8. So I'm going to write 7 and 1/8 slim. Now that's just a reminder for me to say you're going to go slightly under an eighth when you cut that. So let's go ahead and measure the other guy. Now listen, if you're making these, and I know so many of you have been buying these, and good news, Vince found another batch of them, so we have another batch coming. If you have purchased these, be sure to measure your own at home because it's wood. It's like, handmade, and they're all a little different. So I can't talk and write at the same time. So be sure to measure yours when you get them. Don't just go by my measurements on this part. Oop, this one's right at 6 inches. That's nice. And I don't have to write slim on that one. And let's go ahead and get the Santa one. Now the Santa one is a little bit bigger than my ruler because I want to say it's about 13 inches. So I'm going to pull out my, my cut-a-line ruler because it's longer and lay that in there. And it is right at 13 inches. So 13 inches long. And then it is 8 1/16. So, which is probably about what those other ones are too, but I just did, slim 1/8. So what I think I'll do is cut those pieces to build on first, and then we'll build, all right? So let's cut the elf piece. So this piece was in my scrap bin, and I think I'm just going to use it. So let me get my trimmer here, and let's cut this down to 4 and 1/8. And again, it's a slim 1/8, so I'm going to go 4 and 1/8 and then pull back about a 16th. I'd rather it be slightly loose than too tight. So there's that, and then I need it to be 7 and 1/8, but a slim 7 and 1/8, so I came back a little bit, and let's see how it fits. And you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to make sure the paper fits before you build anything on it. Look, that's perfect. That's going to fit just right. It happened to be green. I didn't mean for it to be, I didn't pick green for any reason, except it is going to match because it's green. So that's perfect for here, and now I'm going to cut the others. So here's the snowman, and I cut it 10 and a slim 1/8 by 6, and that's going to fit just fine. It's a little loose right there, but I really don't think that matters, especially since I plan to leave this kind of the raw wood. I think it'll be fine. Let's do Santa Claus. Now, Santa is a little bit bigger, okay? Because Santa is 13 inches long, and I don't have cardstock bigger than 12 inches, here's what I'm going to do. I've cut 2 pieces of cardstock. So I've got this piece, which I think I need to cut down a tiny bit more, which I will in just a second. So I've got that piece there, and then this piece here, which might also need a tiny trim, and they'll overlap. I need to turn it this way so it'll make more sense. I don't mind that overlap because I'm going to be putting a belt on Santa anyway, and I just kind of paid attention to where I wanted it to overlap and where I wanted that belt to lay, so that'll be fine. I do need to trim about a 1/16 of an inch off of the side to get this to lay down better, and then I will glue it together as one piece. So I brought Santa back over, and let's talk about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is place one piece in, and I think I've got it cut right. I had to do a little trimming to get it right, but that's pretty good. And then I've got this other piece that's going to go in this area that is also trimmed well. Okay, you see where they overlap? Perfectly fine. That's where the belt's going to live. I'm going to grab my pencil real quick and just trace this, just like so. So when I take this out, I'll know where to glue them together. So now I can pick these up, oh, it's tight as it comes up. If I can glue these together at that mark, and I know my paper is big enough to build Santa on. So this project could seem a little daunting because you're thinking, I got to turn this box into Santa. When in reality, we're not going to turn the box into Santa. We're going to turn this paper into Santa. So this rectangle will need to become Santa, and then the box will work. I don't want you to think, oh, this is a big project. It's really not. We're just going to turn this sheet into Santa, and the sheet into Snowman, and the sheet into an elf, and then put it inside, and our project will be done. So let me bring this back over and make sure this fits. You do want to make sure this fits before you start building Santa, because we don't want to have to cut anything away after the fact. So see how that kind of snugged up on me? I might need to do a little trimming, maybe in that corner. Maybe let's pull that back out and do a little trimming over there. So that's laying in there nicely. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I had the same thing on my Snowman, no big deal. You just want to make sure all your pieces will lay in nicely before you get started, because if you don't, and you do all this work to build your little characters and then it won't fit in your box, then you'll have a problem. So the elf, I'm just going to pretend like he's a card front. I'm just going to build what would look like an elf. So I've pulled some papers, and these are the ones I pulled from my stash, okay? So this is going to be the color of his shirt. This is going to be his pants. I'm going to do his belt out of this plaid, and then his collar out of this red. So I've got some ideas, and we'll see how they go. So first things first, let's decide how much we want to be his pants. So I want a fairly good amount. Let's see, this guy is, let's see how tall he is. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what 3 inches looks like. 3 inches may not be bad because I am going to put a belt over it as well. So 3 inches would probably be the perfect spot for me to have the belt hang over here and then also have the shirt. But let me see what 2.5 inches up looks like. Let me cut that piece and see. Now, to save yourself a piece of paper, you could have totally done this out of the green that's going to be the shirt and just laid everything on it. But I just had to get myself a base, a starting point. All right, so let's say that this is his little pants. Okay, I think that's a good height, and that's at 3 inches. I think that's good because by the time I put a belt, some buttons, and a collar of sorts, this will work. All right, let's decide how, let's go ahead and cut his shirt. So there's his little shirt. You want to hear a real optical illusion? That's a square. That's 4 1/16 by 4 1/16, but it looks like a rectangle, doesn't it? To me, it does. All right, what I'm going to do is glue these into place. I know these are going to be the bases, and I know I don't need to lift them up or anything. They're just going to go straight down. So I'm going to glue them down. I do like the stability gluing on top of all these pieces is going to give me. It's going to be a nice thick piece. So I'll just glue this down to my little green piece. Just like so. And then let's put his pants on. Another thing that's really good about laying these pieces on top of other pieces is that they butt up against each other, and so you don't have a lip or an overhang here. It's nice and flush, and that'll be better when we add our belt to him. Let's go ahead and do our belt. Now, I want to use this little plaid. I think it'll be cute, and I'm trying to decide how big of a piece I want. Let's put it on my cutting mat and kind of use it to help me. So if I were to do 1 inch, let's see what that would look like. That's not too bad. Let's cut 1 inch slice and see what it looks like. That's kind of cute. But the more I look at it, I'm afraid it's too much green. Now that I see it like this, let me look for another color. So look at that one. I think that's cuter. I like the red and white together. I could even do this side, which has kind of a knocked back, muted kind of look, but I like this side better. I think that really makes the bottom pop as well, and it looks kind of elfy. Now I cut this from a 6x6, and I'm going to hold on to this because we're going to build our little buckle, and let me show you how. So you'll recognize this punch. We just got it recently, and I'm in love with it. I'm going to use it and some of this silver Brutus Monroe cardstock, and I'm going to punch that and turn it into a belt buckle, I think. Now, I want to show you something. I did punch the silver because I want to see how it will look, but the white looks really good too, right? Let's see how the silver looks. Oh yeah, I like the silver, very fancy. Now, the reason I told you I wanted to save that little extra strip I had is I want it to be the inside of the belt buckle because I want the belt to make sense, and you can see it's a little too long. So I'm going to cut it down. Let me see how much I want to cut it down. Let's hold this in the middle and see what we're looking like. I think 1/4 inch should do it. Let's trim it down. You know, you get in your craft room and you just play. I'm not really measuring. I'm just kind of feeling around and seeing how it goes. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is cute. So see, look, this gets me a pretty good amount all the way around that buckle. See that? So it gives me a pretty, let me hold it like this. Maybe that'll, yeah. See how I get that? And that'll look like the belt is going through it. And I even could, if I wanted to, and I might, bring and put a little silver, a little straight piece of silver right here to make it look like it's a buckle, and even a piece here. We'll see. We'll look at that. All right. So I'm going to glue this one down. So I'm going to add some glue to the back of it. I think this will make a cute belt. And I did cut this one a little bit wide, so I'm going to have to trim it. And I also want to look at it and make sure it's good and straight, or as straight as I can get it. Y'all know I don't typically stress over that stuff too much. All right, let's go to the side. You see I've got some hanging off? I'm going to trim that. And while I'm here, I'm seeing a little bit hanging off there. And as you know, we sized this paper to fit in our box. So we need to make sure we keep everything to that paper. So anywhere it hangs over, you're going to want to trim that off. All right, so there's our little elf body. Let's put his belt on. You could pop this up. Do I want to pop his buckle up? I think I do. I think it will be cute. Let's use some Scotty. Now, as this is a home decor piece, so this will be a piece I'll be putting in my home to decorate with, I'm going to use the Scotty, but I'm going to add glue. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to add glue underneath and on top. So before I stick it all the way down, let's add some glue here, just for extra added stability, because I want this to last. And then I'm going to peel that backer off and add a little to the top. Not much. You don't need much. You just want a little glue to help it out. So let's bring it over like so. Place our little buckle down. Try to get him as centered as I can. That looks pretty good. Just like so. And now we can add the top piece. And I'm just going to kind of line that up. And I've got a few minutes to wiggle it. I'm not minutes. I've got a few seconds to wiggle it into place with that art glitter glue. So that should do it. I'm lifted up a little right here. I want to make sure my glue holds down nicely. Because again, this is a project I want to be able to have for a long time. Look how cute that is. Okay, let's try the little sliver in the middle. I think that looks very buckly, so we're going to add this little sliver down. So I'll put a little bit of glue back here. And then I'm just going to place this on and try to center it. I think that is cute. It's the little things like that, you know? So it looks like I have this really fancy buckle, but I don't. Y'all, I'm going to use that punch like crazy. I love it. I'm such a punch fan. I love punches. Look how we did that. It literally looks like we threaded that paper and we did not. Isn't that awesome? I love that. Okay, do I want a little piece right here? I think I do. Let me look. So I took my big hole punch, and on the 5/16 spot right there, I punched out a circle. I think what I'm going to do is just lay it kind of halfway on and halfway off, because you see how it kind of hides in there like that, and let that be the little like buckle piece. I don't know though. Looking at it, I don't think it needs it. I think it actually looks better without it. Glad I looked. Okay, the part I have not been looking forward to is the collar. I have an idea. I don't know how it's going to work. We're going to look and see. So from the same material I made the belt out of, ooh, I'm sewing today. From the same paper I made the belt out of, I'm going to cut myself a piece that is, we're going to go 2 inches. I don't think I'm going to need that much, but I'm going to cut a piece that's 2 inches wide. And I'm just going to try this out with you guys on camera. What I want to do is create almost like a rosette effect, you know, like a accordion page. That's what I want to do. So I do not want to fight too much with my scores. So I'm going to use one of my smaller little bead tools here and make some finer score lines. So I'm going to come in and score it every 1/4 of an inch. And I've told y'all before, I'm not a big fan of doing the 1/4 of an inch scores, but I think this collar, if I did them at 1/2 inch, it wouldn't work, or my plan wouldn't work. So I'm just going to do it at a 1/4 of an inch. I don't have to have too awful much, so it's not the end of the world. And I'm almost positive I've cut myself way too much paper for this, but again, it's just a piece of paper. All right, so now what I want to do is fold this on all of the lines and try to stay as straight as I can. What I'm trying to do is create a collar that will have a little life to it, have a little lift or body. And I kind of want this to be what runs through all 3 of the projects, is this kind of accordion look. So you're going to see me do this again if it works. Okay, back to our little elf. What I'm hoping to do is to be able to take 1/2 of this and run it like so, and that be half of the collar, and then the other half like so, and it be the other half of the collar. I don't know if it's going to work. It's just kind of what I had in mind. And once I get it glued down, I would cut it away and see if that looks like the collar. So let me find the center of this little guy. I tell you what, let's use our Tim Holtz ruler to do that. If you take your ruler that has the 0 mark here, if you just have a centering ruler, you can center your page by placing that 0 down and then getting the same measurement on either side, and that'll find your center. So since this was not quite 4 inches, not quite evenly 4 inches, I'll do it this way. All right, so I've got the middle, which means that's where I want that to start. And it could end, it could literally just be a point like that, but I kind of want more of it. So let me make a mark of how far down I want it to come. So from the center, I think I want it to go about here, which is about 3/4 of an inch. Let's measure and see if that's 3/4. If it's not, I'll make it 3/4, and that way I can match it on both sides. And just let my glue kind of travel shorter and shorter as I go. And I did it backwards, so I'm going to use this side instead of that one first. And I'm just going to glue this down wherever those little guys touch, just like so. And I think I'm going to lift this up and put a little glue under this one a little bit more. And just let that sit and dry, and then I'm going to cut away and use the other half. I don't know if it's going to work. I just thought it'd be kind of cute to give a little dimension to this little guy as a collar. So you see where this is hanging off the edge? I'm going to cut that away, but I don't want to cut until it's dry. All right, so it's close to dry, but I have no patience. So I'm going to start snipping, and I'm going to try to be careful and maybe snip one wrinkle at a time. And if I need to glue them back into place, I can. I'm afraid I'm flattening these out. Not too bad, really. I need to probably fix that little piece, but that wasn't the worst. And then let's cut this little bit. Okay, let's go back and doctor it in any way I need to, which is going to be here, needs to be glued down again. But everything else stayed pretty good. So pretty cute. You can't really see that from camera, but look, like it gives it a little dimension. So let's do the very same thing on the other side and see if we can get our collar looking super cute. I think that'll be cute. So I'm going to use one of the buttons from our Suit Up set. It's this one here, and it's the larger one of all the ones on the Suit Up set. And I'm going to stamp it in some black pigment ink. I'm using a piece of scrap paper, and I'm stamping kind of close to the bottom, but not too close, because I'm going to punch this out with a scallop circle punch, my 3/4 inch scallop circle. I think that'll be cute. And I feel like our elf needs a little color that's not red or green on him. I think he's got a lot of red and green, and I think silver would just be too much running down the middle. So black is always a good way to add a little elegance, right? Okay, so here's my 3/4 inch scallop circle punch. So I'm going to put this in here and line it up as best I can. I'm not going to stress if it's not perfect. And we're going to get that little button. Isn't that cute? I love that. Let's do this one too. And then the last one. Perfect. Now let's place these on. I'm hoping I can get 3. I think I can. They might be close together. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That is cute, right? Love that. And I think I'm going to pop them up. Rather than glue them straight down, we've got the room for dimension, so I think I'm going to pop them up. So let's put some foam on them. So I'm adding a little dot of glue because, like I said, I want this to last, and I'm going to add my foam to it, and then I'll put another dot of glue on them when I put them down. I'm not sure if I want to start at the top or the bottom to line them up. I think the top, because that's where I really need them. I need to wiggle into that space the most. Let's put that one there. There we go. All right, and then the rest. And that bottom one kind of went under the belt, but that's okay because that could happen in real life. And before I can say I'm done with this one, it's got to have some stitch lines. So I'm just going to come down the sides and do a little stitching. And I'm going to take my time on this. I want it to show up really good, so I'm going to go over and back and get good ink flow from my pen. I love how the white ones turned out so much. I'm going to do black on the belt. And even though you probably won't see these very good, I'm going to continue the white down onto the to the shorts or the pants, whatever the elf wears. I think they're pants, shorts, bloomers. I'm not sure. So there we go. I feel like that is our little elf done. And here's our little box. Now I'm going to do something for these to be semi-permanent in here. And I'll show you what that is in a few minutes. But look how stinking cute that is. I just think that's adorable. And I think sitting on my shelf, like I have this shelf in my kitchen, that's where I think it might go. There's another place it might live for this season. But I got to be honest, now that I'm looking at them, I think I want to paint the boxes black. I know I wasn't going to do it black, but I'm thinking black might be the color. We'll see. Let's finish them out, and then we'll go from there. And I'll show you how I'm going to make these guys temporary so I can change them for every season. All right, on to the snowman. Now, the snowman's going to be pretty easy. He's going to be buttons and a scarf. I think that's all I'm doing. And I may do the scarf kind of high because I don't want to have to do a face. I don't think that'll make sense. And remember, even though this piece is white, this is my scrap piece. You can see that this piece is damaged and it's got some scratches on it, which you can't see in camera. So I'm going to cut another piece to cover this up. And I'm using a good thick piece of cardstock. It's not your mama's. It's just alabaster, but that's good and thick by the time I glue these two together. So what I want to do, it's hard to see all the white, but I want to make sure that I cover the whole piece without overhanging. And so what I'm going to do is add some glue to this piece. And then place this one on top. Then I'll just pick them up and tap them together. I have to warn you, don't do what I did. I know you can't see this on camera, but I slid my hand up it and my ring striped it. So be very careful. Almost did it again just then. So if you've got rings on, don't slide them on your page. So I'm just using my mono sand eraser to get rid of it. So it's gone now. Okay, well, let's make a snowman. So I have this paper from the Christmas Cheer paper pack. I don't really think it matters if their colors and their plaids match exactly. Like, let me bring the elf plaid over. This is the elf plaid, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal next to each other because I don't have to use them next to each other if I don't want to. But I'm going to make my scarf out of this. This scarf is going to be iffy, y'all. It's going to be iffy, okay? This plan I have in mind. So I'm going to cut another 2-inch strip, okay? And I'm probably going to need a couple of 2-inch strips. I'm going to go ahead and cut them now while I'm here. I don't have any idea how much of this I'm going to need. I just know I'm starting with 2 inches, which may be too wide. We'll see. So I'm going to bring this little guy back over, my little snowman, and I want to see if I feel like 2 inches is good. I do feel like that is good. And the reason is, like I said, I don't want to have to do his face, so I'm trying to make him feel a little bigger than he actually is. And I think this is good. But if it's a little bit too much for you, you could always cut it down maybe 1/4 of an inch, and it would still work. Maybe I should. Let me do that. I think I should. Do y'all like how I'm just thinking this out with you guys? Be careful setting stuff on your snowman. Let's just cut down 1/4 of an inch. It won't hurt anything, and I'll probably like it better because I do like things in odd numbers, even widths. So here I'm going to accordion these pieces the same as I did the first. And I'm going to go back and use my little stylus again. And I'm going to do it every 1/4 of an inch. All right. So this will take me a second, but I'm just going to run down and every 1/4 of an inch is going to get a score mark. All right. So I'm just going to run through and accordion fold these pieces. I'm not really stressing too much about the fold. I just want to get it folded. And I'm not trying to crease it perfectly, just trying to get the fold going. Once you get the rhythm of this, it's not too bad. Just put your fingers on it like this and just kind of coax it into place. And this works pretty good. So there's my 2 pieces, and let me show you what I'm thinking. Let's hope this works. In my brain, it works. On paper, literally, we'll see. So I'm thinking that because I accordion this, I can turn it into a little angle like that and make it a scarf. And then I think I can take these pieces, of course, both sides plaid, and make it look like his little pieces hanging out. Look, that's going to work. I think it's going to work. So what I want to do is I want to glue my little scarf into place first, something like this. So I think what I'll do is run the glue here so that all my little pieces will just catch into the accordion wherever it touches. All right, and then we'll just lay that into place and get my angle like I want it. And let's put it on the cutting mat so I can kind of get my angle in the same spot on both sides. And I like that I can make the little angle curve with it by doing the accordion, because then it feels like a scarf instead of just being straight across. And I didn't need anything fancy or special or anything. I could just use my regular old paper. Okay, now what I think I'm going to do here is cut these in 2 different lengths. And I feel like this might be a good spot. Just paper if it's not. Don't worry. If I have to redo it somehow, I will. All right, and then what I want to do is I want to glue one piece here and then one piece here so it looks like a little scarf. Y'all, that's pretty cute, right? This piece might be a little long, and that's actually kind of good because I need a piece to be the knot. So let's take this piece off. Remember, these pieces started out their life at 1 3/4 by 12 inches. So if you are trying to do the same thing, that will help you somewhat. So I'm going to have some dimension by the way I glue them down. And then see, I can glue this on top to be like the little scarf knot. That'll be cute. All right, let's glue one down. And I think what I'm going to do up here is flatten this out so that the knot will glue down flatter and the other piece will too. I really don't have to have this buckled. I just want this bottom ruffly like so. I might should have dovetailed that. Should I have? I think I should. Let's see if it's too late. Is it too late? It might be too late. We'll see. Let's try to do it quick. Then I can do the other one right the first time. Okay, I just made it. I just got it in there. It needed the dovetail for the scarf, right? You probably were yelling it, so we got it now. And I can glue these little pieces down too. I love projects like this where I just kind of play and figure it out as I go. Let's go ahead and do the dovetail here. Flatten that out. I think I'll put the red down. Let this go to the top. We'll let the red come down. And I like the dimension I'm getting here, okay? So I'm going to glue this to the top. And then just glue these where they go, where they land. And that's going to be my knot. I cannot believe how easy this turned out. I was afraid this was going to be hard and I was going to struggle figuring it out. But I think this turned out cute. We're not done. We still got to put some buttons on him. Look at that. That's so cute. Okay, let's cut our accordion off the side. It resists a tiny bit when you do that, so you might have to put a little more glue there. See how that's kind of lifting up? Let me put a little glue down. For my snowman, I do not feel like that same button I used earlier is going to be the right size, so we're going to make some bigger buttons. So just taking some scrap black cardstock. I'm going to cut 3. I'm going to try really hard to get 3 buttons on here. I like odd numbers. We've talked about that already today. And I'm just going to use circles. Those were 1 inch. And what I'm going to do is take my white pen, and in the middle, I'm going to make a little X somewhere in the middle. So an X like this. I made that super big on one side. And then I'm going to put some little dots as if those were the thread marks there. So that'll be 1 button. We'll let that dry. Do another one. And you guessed it, I'm going to stitch line them. So there they are, stitched and lined, and you have to be careful because that needs to dry before you do too much messing with them. But I'm just going to kind of place them, and I'm wondering, yes, I can. So I can slide 1 underneath the scarf, and then 1 here, and then 1 here. He's cute. I love him. And I think I am going to pop him up on some foam as well. So there's the snowman. Let's see what it looks like in the box. This is so cute. So I'm going to drop him down in here. Oh, and look, he's a little long. I was afraid I had done that. Let me look at the back of this. I felt as though, see here, can you see? Because I used the white paper, which you might not want to do. See, I've got a little hanging off. I need to do some trimming there. I thought I did. There we go. I got him inside there. That is so cute. He might still be lifting a little bit. I may have to trim him a little more, but I'm going to leave him there for now. So let's look at the 2 of them side by side. So we've got elf, we've got snowman, and it's time for Santa. So the red from this texture pack is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to use that one because it's deep and rich. Look how pretty it is. And it's got just a little texture to it. Love it. So we're going to use this one. And I think I'm going to cover it just like my little line is so I can get it to butt up against each other. Remember, because I want a smooth front. So let's do the same size cuts. So I'm going to lay this sideways so you can see it. But you can see I've got the bottom section here. And then the top section here. Now this one is going to have a little overlap there because I forgot this is kind of layering up paper. but that's fine. I'm not going to stress about it. And you might notice that I have my textures going in 2 different directions, and that doesn't bother me either, because like his jacket could do that and his pants could do that and it would be fine. So let's glue these down, and I want to show you something. I cut my red piece. It's a tiny bit too wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up on 2 sides and then trim off the excess. So I'm just going to get this down. And I'm going to line it up to my line here and one side. So I'm going to stand it up and tap it into place. And if I'm going to have an error, I want to have it here because that's going to be covered by a belt, right? So now I'm going to flip it over, and anything that hangs over the edge, which there is some, I'm going to trim that away because we know this fits perfectly in our box, and we can trim right to it and we'll get a much better slide into the box. All right, and then we glue our other portion down. And again, if I'm gonna have an error, I want it here because the belt's gonna cover that up. Ooh, I really hang off the side here. I think I'm gonna use my craft knife for that one. Another cool thing about this project is I'm able to use up some scraps. So I think I want his belt to be about 2.5 inches wide, and that may not be right. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this scrap down to 2.5 inches and see if I like how that looks. I'm not even gonna worry about the bottom just yet. We'll come back to that. Let's just see what this looks like. So if I lay this in here and I put this down like so, I think 2.5 inches is pretty good on this guy. I may have to build him like this so you can see him. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love Santa Clauses. Okay, so I'm gonna glue this down and then cut it away where it hangs off, and that way I can get it pretty straight. So I know this will be off the screen for you a little bit, but what I'm doing is lining it up on one side of my cutting mat on an even line there, and then I'm just gonna run glue. It's probably too much. And I'm gonna use my cutting mat to help me get it pretty straight. And that's not extremely straight. Let's do that. And then I'm gonna look at it. Let me lift it up. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, let's glue that down, and then we will trim away what we don't need. So there's the first part. Now I gotta make his buckle. So this is 2.5 inches wide, and I want his buckle to be about 1/2 inch bigger than that on either side, or at least I think I do. So I want it to come up here and then come down here. So I'm gonna start with that. So that means I'm gonna need a piece that's 3.5 inches tall, and let's decide, do we want it to be a square? Because if we do, it'd just be 3.5 by 3.5, which is plenty. Let's cut a piece of glitter for that. So let's look at this. So this is my 3.5 by 3.5 inch square. That looks really good like that. And then I went ahead and cut a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square of the black so that it will look like our elf one did, where it looks like the belt runs through it and I don't have to do any fancy square cutting. But I also think I want to see something, and this could be where I mess things up. I'm gonna get one of my punches. I'm thinking it might be cool to punch this and make it look like, to punch the buckle and make it look like it's got a shape to it like our elf one did. So this is my Scallop Punch. Do you see that? I think this is gonna work to look like a fancier buckle than just a square. So I'm just gonna punch this like so. And then that makes our buckle look like that rather than just a big rectangle or big square. And then this can go in here, and I think that is a much cuter buckle, right? Love that. Now the thing I have to be sure I do is get this lined up really nice and even before I stick it down. But before we stick it down, we're doing something else. So I want to make fur to go down Santa's belly, and I don't want it to be so super wide. So I think I'm going to make it 2 7/8. I don't want it to be 2 inches. That would be too much. I think I'm going to do it at 2 7/8. And I don't think I need more than this 12-inch piece. I could, and if I do, it's okay because it's white and I can fix that. But now we're going back to the scoreboard. Is that like back to the drawing board? Back to the scoreboard. And you guessed it, we're scoring every 1/4 inch. Okay, now depending how accordion you want this is going to go down the middle, and I'm going to glue it down to be his little fur. I think this will be cute like this to give us a little more dimension like we did on the other ones. Although I don't know, when I glue it down, maybe I can get it to go a little straighter and a little smoother because I'm not loving how wrinkly it looks. But I think when I glue it, I can do that. So I'm going to glue this piece down. And again, same thing. Let's find our center here so we'll know where we're putting it. So I'm going to put this on my cutting mat where you can see it there. And then our center here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our center. So I'm gonna run glue down there. And then over. And then up. And that should do it. I think I'll start at the belt. Now I'm going to let my cutting mat help me get it lined up in the middle here. And I'm definitely going to need to do another piece for the bottom because I want one down here too. So I will need another piece. So I'll do that real quick. So now we've got the fur glued down and we need to go back to our buckle. Now I knew this was going to happen and my buckle is going to need to be popped up on top of that fur like so. So I'm going to use some foam tape to do that, okay? And I'm going to run the foam tape in here so that it'll hang over the edge and I can just glue it straight to those. So I'm going to need several pieces of foam tape on here. So what I'm going to do is just start here like so. And I feel like I'm going to need 3 pieces of foam. Let's just see. 2 might do it. So I'm going to test it at 2 first just to see. Let's see. I still think I'm going to need 3. So let's just see. 2 gives me a little bit of push down. So I'm going to do 3. So I've added a little glue to the back of my foam just like I have been the whole time. And now this is going to get centered over that belt just like so. That feels about right. And I'm going to stick that down. And I'm getting the tiniest little bit of lift around that, but not bad. Not enough to really stress about it. Let's just let that stick down really good. And now we want to put this guy in. This is what's going to change everything. Look, pow, it turns into a belt. I love it. Now I just want to line this up as best as I can, centered top and bottom and side to side, but still over my buckle, or over my belt, I should say. Isn't that adorable? Oh my goodness, so cute. All right, it's white stitch time. Now I may regret this one, but I'm gonna do black stitch line down the side. I think that'll be cute and give it a little bit of extra dimension. So I'm just gonna run down either side of my fur and do some black stitches. So you know I can't be through yet, so I decided this would be cute if I did like I did on the elf and I laid this one down, because that just really turns this into a cute buckle. So that's just a 1/4 inch piece that's cut 2.5 inches, the same as my square. I'm just gonna glue this down to the middle. Isn't that cute? It looks like we have like an actual die cut or something and there was nothing to it. And now I'm gonna see if I wanna do one of these little pieces. And I tried it on the elf and didn't like it, but I was wondering if on Santa's buckle I would. I think I do like it on Santa's buckle. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to put this into my punch. So this is just major overkill, but I don't want it to be square. I want it to have a little bit of a round edge to it. So I'm gonna put it into my circle punch here and try to get that kind of even. And just get, it is the tiniest difference. It's not probably enough to even matter, but maybe on the black it will. Let's just see. So I'm going to add a little glue to the back side. And then I'm going to lay this into place. I mean, that was probably not enough to even make a difference, but in my brain it does, you know? So there is his little buckle. How cute is that? I'm loving this guy. All right, let's see how he looks in his box. Look at him in there. Oh my goodness, I just love that. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna paint my boxes black because I think these will really pop that way. But look how cute these are so far. So there's our 3. All right, I'm going to go grab my paint and get these painted. So I've got some black satin finished acrylic paint. Just gonna put some out there. That's on a piece of plastic, by the way. And I'm going to paint these guys. I'm not gonna worry too much about the actual inside. Ooh, I like this color. It's a little charcoal. And I think I'll like that better than even solid black. I also feel like these are gonna need a couple coats. They are very, very porous. So I feel like this paint is gonna soak right in. And I really don't want a rustic look. I really want a nice full solid look. So I'm gonna paint them all and let them dry. Probably 2 coats. Let them dry completely and we'll get back together. So I'm not going to cover that hole inside there, but I want to caution you about something. When you're painting these edges in here, you want to make sure you don't leave a bead of paint, because you've already made your pages to fit and you want to make sure they still will. So don't leave a bead of paint down there, because it'll mean you'll have to trim down even more. So here we are. This is the elf box and he's all dry. And you see how I didn't really stress about the bottom, but it did take like 1.5 coats. And here's what I mean. Can you see how it's a little bit not solid here? I did one good coat and then I just did a touch-up coat, and I think it's good. So I didn't do too awful much paint on it. So now look at the difference. This in the black. I am a little concerned that the wood might have swollen a little bit in my painting. But look at that with the black. That is so cute. And I want to show you something. You don't even need adhesive. Like, I'm going to put these in here and I'm not gluing them down. And here's the thing. If I want to change this out, I can. They stay in. They're not going anywhere. I mean, to get that out, I would have to put something in there and get it out. And then I can just change them out. Now, if you feel, or if yours is a little smaller not doing this, if you feel you need to add an adhesive, you can always use a temporary adhesive, a double-sided sticky tape that you kind of pat with your fingers to get some of the sticky off, or even Velcro. You could use magnets. That's kind of up to you. You know, I did magnets in another project, which worked fine, but lots of ways to do that. So there's Elfie. Let's do Snowman. I literally love this project. It has been fun. It was fun designing and fun doing. And honestly, once I got the design down, it wasn't very hard to do. Look at that. Now, this one might need, nope, look. I thought this one might need a little help holding it in, but I think it's going to be fine. So there is Snowman, and let's look at Santa. So I got Santa in, and he's in there. He's not coming out anytime soon without me helping him out. I'm in love with this. Look how cute this is. Now, I want to tell you this. If you're a person who does Halloween decorating, I don't. I do fall. I don't really do jack-o'-lanterns and things like that. But how stinking cute would these be if you did jack-o'-lantern faces for the season and then changed it to your Christmas for later? So cute. Let's bring these guys back over. Here is Snowman. I don't think I can get them all in the screen, but we'll do the best we can. Just look at those. I love this project. I cannot wait to put this in my house. I think these are so cute. And I always love a project when I can use my paper techniques in home decor. I love that because these are rosettes. These are our punches and our paper and our card making techniques. And I'm able to transition it to home decor. I love these guys. So there you go. Again, you could use these for other things. Don't glue these in and just make them where you can take them out and then exchange them for different things. So what I want you to do is in the comments below, tell me the other kinds of things you think could fit in here for other seasons. I did them black, which will make things a little bit harder for spring, but maybe not, because you know, buffalo check's pretty popular in the spring, and my house is gray and black and white anyway, so this would probably work in the spring, and I could do, who knows, bunny faces? I don't know. Y'all give me some ideas in the comments. Now, a lot of you guys picked up these boxes. A lot of you. Matter of fact, I have been packing them and shipping them myself, so I know that you guys have been getting them. So I want to see what you do with them. So go to our customer gallery. This is a place where you can share your projects that you make that I inspire you to do, and or that you're inspired by our products that you purchase from our store. So head to our customer gallery and share with us what you're making. And if you need inspiration for something you've purchased in our store or something I have shown you a product, that's the place to find it. We have more than 2,000 posts there for you to get inspiration. It's like our own personal Pinterest. So go check it out. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You guys have been doing that lately. Every time I ask, we tend to get more and more subscribers. So please subscribe. It really helps us out. You just click the little red button. And if you want to get notifications about when I go live, there's a little bell you can click. That little bell you can set up to get text or email notifications. And lastly, and probably the most important part of the whole thing, is giving us a thumbs up. Let's see if we can get this video to 1,500 thumbs up. That's a lot. Let's see what we can do. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did. And until next time, bye-bye.